You have quorum.
Okay, wonderful. Good evening, everyone. Let's call the meeting to order at 6:03. And we have two trustees that are attending a conference, so it's possible that they may not be here for the meeting, or if they are, they'll be here a little bit later. Let's move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Withrow, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? You just
Sure.
logged on, so I'm not sure if you're ready. Yes.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Let's do roll call, please, Sasha.
Student Trustee Hogan,
Yes.
Student Trustee Latino,
Here.
Trustee Withrow,
Here,
Trustee Jenkins,
Here.
Trustee Handy, Trustee Gonzalez-Yuan,
Right here.
Trustee Delphine Pope, Trustee Pope, right?
I'm here. I'm here.
Trustee Napoleon Bellarise.
Yes.
You have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Let's move on to 3.4, the affirmation of the statement of cooperation. Over the course of the last 2 years, we, the Board of Trustees, have been engaging in a process of reflection to improve our effectiveness as a board. And as a result, we conducted a critical review of our work over the last several years through a formal self-evaluation and established meaningful goals. We've come up with a statement of cooperation that codifies our commitment to set the bar for excellence in governance and community college leadership and to lead by example for our Peralta colleges. The statement of cooperation is attached to this agenda, as you all know, and we go through it every board meeting. But in summary, we have committed to 3 main goals. They are: number 1, build trust and seek to understand each other. Number 2, to be prepared and follow good governance and ethical protocols. And number 3, model the behavior we want others to exhibit. Okay, let's move on to 3.5, report of action taken in closed session. Vice President Delphine Polk, I don't think there is a report of action. Am I correct on that?
That is correct, as far as I know.
Okay, thank you. 3.6, approval of the agenda. May I have a motion?
so moved.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee
have a comment.
Gonzalez-Yuan. Yes.
Madam President, I would like
Yes.
to move the consent calendar and the action items to the next agenda item. As Trustee Handy and I are at a conference and we are in session.
Okay, so the order of the agenda is what we're changing. And we would do the consent calendar. And did you say action item?
The consent calendar and the action item to the next next one item.
Okay, so may I move it to 3 right after approval of the agenda? Council, could you advise me, or can we move it right before the presentations?
Trustee Withrow, is that an acceptable amendment to the motion for you?
That's fine.
And as a seconder, it's acceptable to me.
Okay. And Council, we're good to move it to right before 3.7?
Absolutely. You can move the agenda as you'd like for the action.
All right, roll call, please.
Student Trustee Hogan,
Yes.
Student Trustee Latino,
Yes. Sorry.
Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
Trustee Handy. Oh, she's not, okay. Trustee Gonzalez-Yuan,
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
Trustee Napoleon Bellarise.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so now may I have a motion for the consent items?
So moved.
Second it.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Thank you, Trustee Jenkins. Discussion? Okay, roll call.
Student Trustee Hogan,
Yes.
Student Trustee Latino,
Yes.
Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
Trustee Handy, Trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Pogue,
Yes.
Trustee Napoli Bellarice.
Yes.
Motion passes. President, you're muted.
Thank you. Now let's move on to the action item 8.1.
Move
Consider
approval.
approval. Okay,
Second.
thank you. Any discussion on 8.1?
This is the piggyback contracts for computers. Yes?
That's correct. Yes.
Right.
I'm seeing no questions from our trustees. All right, let's do roll call.
Student Trustee Hogan,
Yes.
Student Trustee Latino,
Yes.
Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
Trustee Handy, Trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Pogue,
Yes.
Trustee Napoli Bellarice.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Now let's move to 3.7, approval of the minutes. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Jenkins. Roll call.
Student Trustee Hogan,
Yes.
Student Trustee Latino,
Yes.
Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
Trustee Handy, Trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Pogue,
Yes.
Trustee Napoli Bellarice.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, let's move on to 3.8, approval of the minutes from the board retreat. Motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Jenkins. Roll call.
Student Trustee Hogan,
Yes.
Student Trustee Latino,
Yes.
Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
Trustee Handy, Trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Pogue,
Yes.
Trustee Napoli Bellarice.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Let's move on to 3.9, associated student government reports. Do we have any student leaders in the room?
Let me check. I do not see any hands raised. No, ma'am.
Okay, let's move on to 3.10, Peralta classified tenant report.
Madam President, I see
Yes.
Trustee Handy has arrived, and I don't know whether there is a parliamentary procedure that would allow her to cast votes on the votes that we voted on or not. That's a question for General Counsel, and whether she wants to or not. But I noticed she did come into the room.
Yes, thank you, Nikki.
Natasha?
Generally, you would not reopen a vote after it's been cast without meeting certain conditions under the Brown Act or Robert's Rules of Order. But practically speaking, the district has allowed for votes. They're almost ceremonial in nature. They can shift the decision. So if Trustee Handy would like to vote in that respect, we'd be happy to record her vote.
So Trustee Handy, if
Sorry,
you would like,
I have a technology out.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Said we could not get my technology out. That's why.
Oh, sure, no worries. But I guess the question that I have for you, or that we have for you, is: would you like to vote on the consent items and the action item that we just voted on, or not?
Yes.
Okay, so then, council, what is the process to reopening that up for a vote?
We could ask Sasha to just record Trustee Handy's vote on each of the motions. There were only a couple in this instance.
Right.
Linda, we voted on consent. There was one action item. It was that piggyback contracts for Berkeley City College. The minutes from our last two meetings. That's all we voted on. And the agenda.
My response would be yes. I've already read through the agenda. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Handy.
So we're good. Let's move on to the district, the Peralta Classified Senate. Oh, I'm sorry. Right, the Peralta Classified Senate Report 3.10.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President.
Good evening, President Reese, Vice President Delphin Polk, members of the Board of Trustees, Chancellor Jackson, presidents, and guests. Tonight, we have one short Classified Senate campus report. The report comes from the Berkeley City College Classified Senate. Berkeley City College had its last meeting for the Classified Senate on June 28th, and the Classified Professional Leadership Group will reconvene in August. That is the end of these short campus reports for tonight. Thank you very much for your support of the Peralta Classified Senate.
Thank you, Terrence. All right, let's move on to 3.11. I believe that President Moore is not present. Am I correct and accurate in that statement?
Yes, President Napoleon-Belarus, he indicated that he was not going to be able to make the meeting tonight, so there would be no report from the Academic Senate.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to 3.12, public communication.
Ma'am, we have nobody as an attendee. No public communication.
Thank you. Let's move on to Chancellor's reports, 313.
Oh, okay. Tonight we have Dr. Denise Richardson, who is here because President Johnson is attending a conference. So in deference to her, I will have Merritt College go first, followed by, I'm not going to go with College of Alameda, Nathaniel. I'm going to go with Laney College. And then I will go with Berkeley City College and followed last by College of Alameda. So Dr. Richardson, the floor is yours. Dr. Richardson, are you on mute?
I apologize for the delay.
Oh,
Yes,
not a problem.
I'm ready now with the president's report.
Okay, go ahead.
Chancellor Jackson, President Napoli-Belarus, Board of Trustees, colleagues and community, good evening. It is my honor to represent our esteemed president, Dr. David M. Johnson. I'll begin by sharing that Merritt's fall 2022 enrollment projection is encouraging. With more than 6 weeks before the fall semester begins, Merritt is already at 46.13% of its FTES target. Since we want to continue to bolster enrollment, our focus is on assisting students who make too much to qualify for financial aid, but who still find themselves experiencing serious financial hardships due to the rising cost of living. The goal is to remove some of the major barriers that prevent existing students from persisting and prospective students from applying and enrolling. Our plan is to provide these students with free childcare for students who can't afford it on their own, Safeway and Merritt cafeteria gift cards to address food insecurity, critical technology tools such as hotspots, and textbook vouchers from our bookstore. We believe that this strategic approach will make a positive difference for many of our students, particularly the ones that most need our support. Additionally, we are excited to report that Merritt's CE programs are flourishing. Our Dean of Allied Health and Public Safety, Marie Amboy, has done a tremendous job partnering with our exceptional CE department chairs and program directors. Together, they successfully promote and administer programs that provide our students with lucrative careers in medical assisting, EMT and fire, nursing, radiologic science, biosciences, and the list goes on. The success in these areas has been so extensive that CE now represents 70% of Merritt's FTES. And finally, in preparation for our students coming back in the fall, we want our beautiful campus to shine and to be as welcoming as possible. So we've scheduled a Merritt Makeover Day for Saturday, August 6th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. All are welcome. President Johnson has promised to buy pizza for everyone who comes out to help, so we are looking forward to a strong turnout. Thank you, and this concludes my report for Merritt College.
Good evening, Chancellor Jackson, President Napoli-Belarus, members of the governing board, students, valued colleagues, and respected members of our community. I'd like to begin my report tonight by just sharing that in the written report, you'll find some great information about our commercial music program, which is growing and really taken part in our career pathways, as well as yet another publication from Professor Judy Juanita and some information about that, and we certainly congratulate her. In addition to that, I'd like to highlight some great things that are happening with Laney College's CalWorks office and program. As you may be aware, the CalWorks program has supported income qualifying parents or those who are under 18 who are heads of households. So this is a program that happens every year, and we have our cohort of students. And typically, among that cohort of students, there are one or two rising stars who make our honor roll. Well, this year, really sensing the challenges and issues that have come as a result of the pandemic and other factors, the program coordinator, Cynthia Alvarado, tried something new. She began offering daily mental health workshops, responding really to student need and really just being in touch with those who really needed the support. Well, I'm so pleased to report that among the 30 students in the cohort this year, 12 of them, not one or two, but 12 of them, or over nearly 40%, made the honor roll this year. I think it's really a testament to a lot of the innovation that happens at Laney College, and I would like to commend Ms. Alvarado, along with Dean Mildred Lewis, and of course, Vice President Hall, and all those at Laney who have really made this a success, and just want to appreciate them for that. Also, if you have a chance this week on my board report, you'll see that I interviewed Coach John Beam as part of my President's Desk podcast. And we had an engaging discussion just about the state of college athletics with a lot of the rule changes and a lot of student athletes at the four-year level now making lucrative dollars as student athletes. And we discussed some of the impact on that, as well as his role as an athletic director and a lot of what he's seen in his years in that role. But if time is short, I would encourage you to go to the last 5 minutes of the interview, and it is hyperlinked in my report. And during this time, I asked Coach Beam to imagine that I was a potential recruit and that he was in my living room, and I asked him to give me his pitch. And I think if you happen to tune into that, you'll find that's very exciting and really is a testament to all the great things that Laney College and our athletic program has to offer. Also, in the spirit of, and in concluding tonight, in an alignment with the report that Merritt College has given, I'm pleased to share, and really this has been a product of collaboration with the other 4 colleges and discussion, as well as the district, that Laney College has also launched a Fall is Free campaign to cover a lot of the associated costs that Dr. Richardson mentioned. And this was an exciting day today to do that. And I look forward to sharing more with the board as we go forward. But among the things that we will also be looking at, we will be continuing our food distribution as part of the support we'll be providing. Also technology, transportation, as well as books and supplies, and then also, of course, covering tuition. So there are a lot of exciting things ahead, and I look forward to sharing more about this exciting initiative with you when we meet next. This concludes my report.
Good evening, President Napoli Abella-Reese, Chancellor Jackson, esteemed colleagues and community members. I'm very happy to support Berkeley City College today, in the place of Dr. Garcia, who's coming back from a training session for Admin 201. So I won't be redundant with the update that you already have, but I did speak with Dr. Garcia earlier today, and she wanted to make sure you're aware of a really great thing that we just started at BCC. It's our inaugural BCC in the community, and that is a little trip that she took with a few other employees directly to students' houses to welcome them to BCC. And I have a TikTok video. I'm not sure I can get it shown today, so we might save that for another one for her next one. but she got the idea from Kingsborough Community College, and it was really successful. That happened yesterday, and so the group was able to visit our new ASBCC president, Mazen Saeed. So visited continuing students and then new students, and that's Marley Leaks in our Umoja program. So it was very, very successful. We're really thrilled to do it, and we're going to do it again this week. And I would say in addition to that, BCC is working with the other colleges to make sure that we are able to really address the suspended applications that kind of get stuck in the middle that students try to submit and aren't able to finish. So we're in the process of arranging for a training district-wide so that our A&R staff can help us maybe stimulate some of the enrollment for the students. So we're really excited about that and continue using the summer to get ready for the fall. Thank you so much.
Okay, it's my turn. Good evening, President Reese, trustees, Chancellor Jackson, colleagues, and guests. I'm pleased to provide the report for College of Alameda this evening. On Wednesday, June 22nd, College of Alameda held a financial aid popcorn and soda social in the quad of the main campus. Over 60 people participated in the event. Students received a variety of financial aid related services and information, including personal assistance, checking their financial aid status, completing their FAFSA and DREAM app applications, resources or responses to specific financial aid questions, and information on accessing the financial aid social media platforms via TikTok, Instagram, to provide information on how to stay abreast of updates and deadlines. Over 50% of the attendees reported that they had not completed their FAFSA and DREAM Act, so we had the opportunity to assist them to do just that. Many of the attendees brought younger family members, and they enjoyed the array of games, prizes, and social activities that took place as part of the event. I would also like to welcome Sandy Riviera Cordova, who is joining the COA admissions and records team as an A&R technician. Sandy has worked for the district for 7 years in various positions, including as an A&R technician at Merritt College. Thank you, Dr. Johnson and crew, for giving us to her. And she's worked with the district to set up transcript evaluation project. Most recently, Sandy worked at Mills College as an administrative assistant. So please join me in welcoming Sandy to the College of Alameda family. On June 29th, College of Alameda participated in the Emerging Leaders of Alameda Chamber and Economic Alliance, including the Alameda County Workforce Development Board and Home 2 Suites, to host a job fair for those who are seeking employment. The Alameda Job Fair provided a valuable opportunity for local college and high school students to connect with local businesses. I, Vice President of the Admin Services, Augustine Gill, and Career Center Director of Workforce Systems, Stephanie Bradshaw, represented COA at the event, providing information about the college to those who attended. Trustee Bill Withrow also attended and lended his support to the event. 13 businesses and organizations shared career and employment opportunities and information with the more than 75 job seekers that came to the event. On Wednesday, July 20th, 11 to 2 p.m., college will be hosting an outreach and enrollment event called Rock and Roll. The event will be on campus and will provide new and returning students the opportunity to register and receive additional information pertaining to financial aid for the fall. The event will include games, free tacos, and ice cream for our students. We're asking students to RSVP in order to ensure that we have enough free items for them. Lastly, I would say that we are all hard at work planning for and marketing for fall enrollment, as my colleagues have mentioned. We are also preparing to advance the work of our education master plan and doing the necessary work related to fiscal year end close. So this ends my report for the evening. Thank you for your attention and good night.
Thank you, presidents and vice presidents, and my apologies, excuse me, for not introducing our esteemed colleague from BCC, Dr. Stacy Shears, the Vice President of Student Services, who was representing President Garcia in her absence. So sorry for that oversight, Stacy. And not to toot his own horn, College of Alameda President Jones recently completed the Harvard Seminar for New Presidents. This is one of the most esteemed seminars that are offered in the nation. The Harvard Seminar for New Presidents began in 2021. His course began in 2021. It was both virtual as well as on-site and on campus in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and he graduated in June of 22. So congratulations, Nathaniel, for that. My last announcement has to do with an email notice that I received today. President Napolia Bellaris and I received a letter from Trustee Jelena Bonilla sharing with us that the district that she's resigning from her position as trustee. After almost 8 years of service to the district, Trustee Bonilla's resignation will be effective August 1st, 2022, and we will take time to formally recognize her service at a later meeting. But tonight, I just want to thank her personally for her service and dedication to the Peralta Colleges, our students, our staff, and our community. And I'd like to just read her letter to you in closing my report. Dear colleagues and Area 7 constituents, after nearly 8 years of public service, I am resigning from my position as a Peralta trustee effective August 1st, 2022. It has been both an honor and privilege to represent such a vibrant community. While I am stepping down from my trustee position, I will continue to focus on my work steeped in social justice and advancing economic initiatives and policies that uplift BIPOC communities. I am honored to have served Peralta and continue my work in other ways. Thank you for your support of my leadership and of the Peralta Colleges. Sincerely, Jelena. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor, and thank you for reading the letter of resignation. I'll save my comments for my trustee report regarding the resignation because she will be sorely missed as a valued member of our board, absolutely. And congratulations, Dr. Jones. That also is an incredible feat. All right, let's move on to presentations. 4.1, Parcel Tax Report. I will give it to Dr. Droger.
Yes, thank you so much. President Reese, Chancellor Jackson, members of the board, and our esteemed colleagues and friends out in the community. I'm Stephanie Droger, Interim Deputy Chancellor here at Peralta. And tonight we planned, you can see there's a whole bunch of people involved in this presentation, but we will be presenting what we presented to our Parcel Tax Citizens Oversight Committee over the last couple of meetings, and to provide you and the community with an update on those activities of the plans that we've done over this past year and the year prior. So Sasha, if you'll switch slides. Thank you. So here's our presentation for tonight. We'll give you some background on our parcel tax measure. I'll talk a little bit about the two presentations we did for our Citizens Oversight Committee on April 6th and June 8th. The April 6th meeting focused on instructional activities, and our June 8th meeting focused on non-instructional or student support activities that would pay for by the parcel tax measure. And so tonight you'll see that the vice presidents from the colleges are joining me, and as well as Mr. Ahmed, our interim vice chancellor of finance, to present the college information as well as the district finance information. So you'll see the update on our plans from each of the colleges. We'll give you that fiscal update on expenditures, and we'll talk a little bit about our parcel tax measure compliance. Next slide. So just a little background. First, we want to say thank you to all people who voted for this in support of this measure. Overwhelmingly approved in, first of all, in 2012, and then again in 2018. And we cannot do this work without you, so thank you. Each measure does provide $8 million over 8 years to support students, and is direct instruction and student support that we are funding. Parcel Tax Measures Oversight Committee was created in March 2019, and it is made up of community members to help communicate the activities and ensure that we are meeting the requirements of the measures. Next slide. And so I just want to take a minute and say a special thank you to our Parcel Tax Citizens Oversight Committee. First of all, Dr. Oscar Porter, who is our outgoing chair. We could not, has been since the beginning of the committee. And so we want to thank him for his service. He's termed out. And, but we also we have voted in a new incoming chair, and that's Mr. Carlos McLean. The committee is joined by Ms. Kathy Smith, who's our incoming vice chair, Mr. Molly Watkins, and Ms. Sharon Smith. A special thank you to the committee, and a very special thank you to Dr. Porter for your support. Next slide. And so besides the Parcel Tax Citizens Oversight Committee members, I just wanted to point out and show the staff that were present at the two meetings where the presentations happened. And you can see many of them are here tonight to present the information to you. But we also want to thank Dr. Mark Johnson for his support, of course, Chancellor Jackson for her leadership, and the rest of the staff in finance. Next slide. So this slide, as we get into the presentation, is an oversight of just district-wide spending. It is over the last 3 years, and you can see that the blue markers are what we have appropriated and spent as far as courses and direct instruction. The orange line is student support, and our vice presidents who will present tonight will describe those activities of what is meant by student support. And then other expenses they will also describe, and that's kind of the tannish greenish color that you see there. But over the 3 years, you can see that when we started in 2018, there was 572 sections that were supported by the parcel tax, dipping down a little bit in 2019 to 2020 when our sections were cut a little bit because of COVID. And then this past year, we did remarkably well in supporting the measure, instruction through the measure. I want to point out that part of the requirements of the parcel tax is that the district cannot supplant. So we have our strong schedule, and then the parcel tax funding goes to augment and go beyond and above what we do in our normal scheduling. And again, the colleges will talk more about those activities. So next slide. So first up, I'd like to invite Dr. Stacy Shears to discuss Berkeley City College.
Sure, thank you. So for Berkeley City College, we developed a 2-year plan for parcel tax expenditures, and those include core academic programs like science, mathematics, English, and technology, as well as workforce preparation, career and job training, and preparation for transfer to four-year institutions. Those are the core underpinnings of our expenditures for parcel tax. For 2020 to 2022, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, BCC focused on providing support to students that needed it to succeed under the unprecedented circumstances. Next slide. And you can see here that the number of sections that were supported with parcel tax funds went up from 2018-19 to 19-20, and then 2020 to 21 on the right in terms of the number of sections. And then on the left, for the parcel tax funded categories, the blue, just like previously, shows the instruction expenditures for parcel tax at BCC, and the orange shows the student support expenditures for parcel tax at BCC. So we started a little higher, dipped down, and then spent a little more for student support in 2021. Next slide.
All right, and now thank you so much, Dr. Shears, and I'd like to invite Diana Bajrami. Sorry, Diana, I just blanked for a minute, but I'd like to invite Vice President Instructor Diana Bajrami to join us.
Hello, everyone. So I would like to present the College of Alameda plan. We have a well-vetted process when we bring the parcel tax spending to both the Senate, the Budget Committee, and the chairs, so we can see how we can best support the students for them to achieve the transfer or job placement within the time that we have promised them. So we fund a variety of courses, and they span into mainly math and English primary, especially with AB 705 and ensuring that students reach those transfer level courses. We spend a great deal in science and STEM because there has been a really huge demand for the science and STEM courses at COA. Workforce preparation, career education, also job training. We also recognize, especially in the last couple of years, that spending in instruction would not reach our goal of assisting students to transfer or obtain degree certificates within the 2 years or 3 years plans that we had for them. So we moved really fast to provide additional support services such as embedded tutors, embedded in their online courses in Canvas, other resources through the Learning Resource Center, peer mentors for students to reach out to them in difficult times. We supported the library, and that has been really instrumental in providing the curbside assistance for all the students, or also delivering those computer loaners for the students that had issues with digital divide. Another use at College of Alameda that has been unique has been Fab Lab, because we focus on hands-on learning that has supported us also in outreach with high schools, coming there and exploring some opportunities as Fab Lab, or also career education partnering with Fab Lab. As the students who are at COA also had enjoyed Fab Lab and the services they have to offer. In terms of quantitative data, if we can go in the next slide, we have seen an increase in spending for instructional, direct instructional support from year to year. And last year that we closed, that we present probably in the future, was even stronger. We have seen also an increase in student support, because we recognize it really quickly that they needed additional support outside the classrooms. And other expenses, we talked about how do we leverage some funds for Fab Lab and those resources to see that parcel tax is one of the sources that they use while we leverage other funds at the college. We are excited to present the upcoming 2-year plan to all the committees, so it can be well vetted, and also hopefully to get some student feedback and leverage it with the work that we do in Education Master Plan, also with our guided pathway with student-focused approach.
Thank you so much. And I think it's really important to reiterate that, as Diana mentioned, that the colleges are coming up, this is the end of the 2 years, and so they are engaging in the next 2-year plan with their colleges going forward. So I'd like to invite Dr. Becky Upsada, Vice President of Instruction at Laney College, to present.
Thank you. And what Deanna was just talking about at College Alameda, I thought was such a good segue into one of the points that I wanted to make, that this 2-year plan you see on the screen has now expired, and we are now in the process of building out our new plan. And I wanted to also thank the Parcel Tax Oversight Board. I was able to attend both of the meetings that were mentioned earlier and participate in just great conversations about the future of the spending of the parcel tax, what their were, ideas that we had, and there was just a lot of good back and forth on things to do maybe slightly differently than how we've been doing them the last couple of years, and I appreciated those conversations. So you can see our 2-year plan for the things that we've spent the money on over the last couple of years, and the next slide will show you the same charts of the dollar amounts. What this doesn't show, though, that I just want to share very briefly, is the number of sections side. You'll see 155 is the last number there. That number in the abstract doesn't have a lot of meaning to it until you realize that 155 sections was actually 11.7% of all of the classes we taught at the college. So the parcel tax in that year funded 11.7%. And that's a very significant number if you imagine us not being able to teach all of those classes. In the previous years, they were 7.6%, and 146 in year 18 was 8.6%. So I just wanted to make that point, that these numbers are very significant and have made a difference in the things that we've been able to offer to our students. And I'm confident that they will make a big difference in the future as we continue to use the parcel tax to support our students. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Becky. And now I'd like to invite Dr. Denise Richardson to present for Merritt.
Good evening. At Merritt, parcel tax funds have had a profound impact on our ability to maintain a high standard of instruction and student services support. In 2018-2019, in the 2018-19 school year, as my colleague just shared, we also outlined the percentages of classes that we were actually able to support with parcel tax. So 159 out of 921 classes were paid for in 2018-19, roughly 17%. That was, of course, lower in 2019-2020 due to what was happening with the pandemic. And then again in 2020-21, there was a huge increase with 211 out of 811 of our classes being supported by parcel tax, which is roughly 27%. During the 2021-2022 school year that we just ended, again, more than 200 of our classes were paid for with parcel tax dollars. The lion's share of those funds supported high demand sections in math and sciences. We've been able to leverage our funds, our parcel tax funds, to offer classes in critical areas. This has enabled us to hire more instructors, more counselors, and more librarians than we otherwise would. Some examples of this increased capacity in hiring include part-time faculty who teach GE requirements for our 2-year program pathways, part-time faculty who teach career education, online counseling, which is a high demand service for our students, particularly now, part-time librarians who provide online library support. Again, in our COVID-19 environment, these remote services are essential to providing students with resources and the support that they need to adapt and thrive in both an online and in-person learning environment. We've been able to bolster offerings in our core academic programs, including science, mathematics, English, and technology. We've increased opportunities for workforce preparation and career and job training. We've also increased the number of embedded tutors to better support our AB 1705 curriculum. Lastly, we've been able to include more of the requisite classes for transfer to 4-year institutions. The last slide illustrates the dramatic increase in the number of classes and services that have been supported by parcel tax funds over the last year. The advantage that these funds provide our students, particularly at this pivotal moment in for education, is invaluable. So again, we say thank you to our community for standing in the gap. This concludes my report for Merritt College.
And we'll just let you take a minute to review the data that Dr. Richardson just presented. Okay, Sasha, next slide, please. So I'd like to invite Mr. Ahmed, our Interim Vice Chancellor of Finance, to present the money.
Thank you, Stephanie Drucker. Good evening, President Reese, trustees, chancellor, colleagues, and community members. This evening, I will present to you the expenses for fiscal year 2021 regarding the parcel tax. I'm gonna start with Berkeley City College. As you can see, we spent for salary, instructionals, and benefit a little bit over $1 million. Regarding College of Alameda, we spent for instructionals $920,000. Laney College, $1.6 million for instructionals, and Merritt College, $1.3 million, which is a total actual expenditure roughly a little bit less shy than $5 million, which represent 62.49% in overall expenses we spend on instructionals. I'm gonna go back to Berkeley City College regarding the support services for faculty. We spent for counselor, librarian, classified, friends benefit, a little bit less than $300,000 for Berkeley. College of Alameda, $155,000. Laney College, $1.3 million. Merritt College, $414,000. Total $2.2 million, which represent in overall expenses 27.77%. Lastly, now we have our total. That's our total instructionals. If we add faculty, so we spent for Berkeley City College $1.3 million. We spent on College of Alameda over $1 million. Laney College spent over $3 million, and Merritt College spent about roughly a little bit about $1.7 million. Total expenses is $7.2 million, which represent 90.26% spent on faculty instructionals and non-instructionals. Regarding the classified for Berkeley City College, salary and benefit, we spend it for about a little bit about $213,000. College of Alameda, 101. Laney College spent $0 on classified. They spent all their money on faculties. Merritt College spent about $148,000. Actual expenditures totals $464,000, which represent 5.80%. Total other operating expenses, which is the supplies and other capital outlay. For Berkeley City College, we spent $0. Total expenses for fiscal year 2021, $1.5 million. For a College of Alameda, we spent $292,000, and for services, and that is that lab is for the lab training they have. So it's $1.4 million with their total share that we spent. Laney College, they didn't spend anything. They spent all their money on faculty. They spent all the $3 million. Merritt College spent $23,000 on services and capital outlay, which is $23,000. Overall total $1.9 million. We spent $8,409,000, which is represent the 100% that the parcel tax. As you can see, we're spending more of our money, our parcel tax on faculty instructionals and faculty non-instructional support services. And I want to also inform you that for 2021, we didn't have any finding regarding the parcel tax. It was a clean audit. That's what I want to add. And I think I completed my presentation. Thank you, Dr. Drucker.
Thank you so much, IVC Ahmed. And here's just a breakdown of what the information he just presented. Okay, next slide. And so just a few more points. Thank you to Mark Johnson. Parcel tax measure spending plans, again, were shared publicly at the beginning of the 2-year cycle in 2020. Again, this is the ending of the 2-year cycle going into 2022. So they're working on their new plans for the next 2-year round. Our 2020 and 21 finances, as ISVC Ahmed mentioned, a clean audit. And you could also see our audit results posted on our website. Next slide. And Chancellor, this concludes our report.
Thank you, all of you. Excellent job. Clear, concise, and provides a great overview of how we've expended the funds that were given to us by the voters through this parcel tax measure. And we would entertain any questions that the board may have regarding this presentation. But thank you, Vice Presidents. Thank you, Mark, for your assistance in helping with the Oversight Committee. And I want to also thank the Oversight Committee. They do have a report that they'd like to present to the board. I'm reviewing that, and we have a meeting set up where Dr. Joker and I will be discussing that with the incoming chair. So any questions, President Reese?
Thank you, Chancellor, and thank you all. Trustees, any questions at all? I'm seeing none. And just one question, and I'm not sure if you have the answer, so you could always get back to the board with this, with the response. But I know from the grid where we are in terms of our expenditures for 2021, but given the charts and where we were for 18-19 expenditures and 19-20, do we know how much we've spent of our parcel tax from the past 3 years? And again, this is something that you're more than welcome to just give to the board at a later time if we don't have that information offhand.
I'm sorry, President Reese, I want to make sure I understand. Are you asking for the prior 3 years prior to 18-19?
Right. So we have, no, not prior to 18-19. So 18-19, 19-20, when I was looking at the parcel tax expenditures for 2020, 2021, the grid that you have on page 15, it's got this year, 2020, 21, and how much we've spent. So the question that I just have, which you could give to me later on, is again, the 18-19 and 19-20, how much we spent of the 8 million from those 2 years.
We can provide that information to you. Yes, this was just the 1 year fiscal. IVC Ahmed, did you have anything to add?
No, Dr. Drucker, we will provide that.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Trustees, seeing none. Thank you all for, again, the concision and the brevity, but also the accuracy of this. Very, very helpful. And we'll be looking forward to the COC presentation as well. Great. Thank you all. Let's move on to the next agenda item. The next agenda item is 4.2, update on the ACJC follow-up report.
Yes, I just want to take a minute to give the board, there was a question at our retreat because one of the board goals was on ACCJC and also on FitMat. We provided an update in open session as well as a report that we submitted to the state. And so we're going now into the fall, getting ready to have another visit by ACCJC. And that is coming up on October. I believe the dates are 13, 14 October. And so I asked Dr. Joker, because of her extensive background and experience in this area, to take the lead on this for the district, as many of the items were on the district in terms of recommendations. And we were also fortunate enough to get Dr. Fulks to come back and work with us. She did an Herculean job working with us to get our report, and really was instrumental, I think, in identifying the work that we've done in such a way that it was very clear to the commissioners the effort that we have done to meet the standards. So I asked her and Dr. Joker if they would give us just a brief update, go over the calendar. This will be the first ongoing presentations. As we move back into the fall semester, we'll do like we did before, meeting with our constituency groups and follow our calendar, and then provide the board with some updates on the way. So with that, I'll turn it over to Stephanie and Janet.
Thank you so much, Chancellor. And I want to welcome back Dr. Janet Folk. She and I have spent a lot of years working together on accreditation. Peralta did a wonderful thing by bringing her on. If you don't know, Janet has not only faculty administrative experience in the California Community Colleges, but when I was at JCCJC, she had been on at least 15 peer review teams, and of course had helped write numerous ICERs and follow-up reports for her own district. So I really appreciate the partnership. So we'll go ahead and give you an update. We'll move to the next slide, Sasha.
And I'll go ahead and just say thank you so much for having me back. I feel so proud that I can claim to be part of the amazing work that you all are doing. And as I've dive into the evidence for this next report, you have not stopped. You have sustained really strong progress in so many areas. So I feel privileged to be a part of this for a district that is so close to my heart, and I think so important to educating our California students. So as you look at the activities we've got, I just have to say that last time we didn't actually get started until the summer. This time we've had some interim planning and reviewed the requirements, some drafts of what we're going to do done in May. And so Stephanie and I and the team are getting drafts written as we speak, and we will have that draft ready in August, so that the Chancellor's Cabinet can work on it. And then we'll try and take it out to all of the Peralta community again with our fireside meeting, and then send the drafts out so that the colleges can give feedback, which is a little bit strange because most of the requirements are centered around district things, but it's always great to get those colleges to be able to explain how they integrate into that district progress moving forward. And then in September, it'll be a series of approval votes and finally sent to ACCJC in October with a visit like last year. And so this is, again, a fast schedule, but one that can definitely be met.
And I should say we are on target. So far, we are sticking to it. But let's take a moment and let's remember where we were. And where we were was from probation to warning. So when we were on probation, we got a follow-up report. We had 4 colleges. We had improvement recommendations, 1 at Laney, 2 at Berkeley City. We had 10 district requirements and 8 fiscal issues that were identified through ACCJC's fiscal monitoring process, and also 2 improvement recommendations at the district. Next slide. But today, we have amazing accomplishments, and this is what we're celebrating. First of all, we had 4 district requirements that have already been met. They're already taken off. We do not have to worry about them anymore. We meet the standards. Next slide.
And I think the board should understand how amazing that is. And also just from probation to warning, I don't know how many schools you saw doing that, but I know I worked with Compton and it didn't happen. So you should be proud of all the work you've done. It's been Herculean, like Chancellor Jackson shared.
And I just want to make sure that we know that once in a follow-up report, once a requirement is met, we don't have to talk about it again. It is considered met. So we also have met several of the areas under fiscal monitoring. Again, Herculean efforts. So establishing those FDES targets and enrollment management plans, we've met that. Our student success infrastructure plan, in alliance with SCIP, met. Adopting a board policy to regarding sustainable fund balances and reserves. We have that. Establishing strategies to improve the management of OPEB. We've met that, as well as addressing the leadership turnover, which the chancellor has been working on with you for the last couple of years. And wow, the investment you have made in your staff and continue to make will make a huge difference going forward in the sustainability of the district.
And I just want to say, although we don't have to respond to these, as I've gone in and looked at the evidence, you have continued to strengthen every one of those areas in a very remarkable, and I think in a way that other schools could really learn from Peralta.
And that's what this is about, right? It's not just doing it for accreditation's sake. It's about sustaining, just developing and sustaining practices that will live beyond each of us here. Chancellor Jackson. I see your hand up.
These are the remaining district requirements that you have. And I think it is important to recognize and maybe to remember some of the reporting from last year. These are not simple requirements. It's not something you can flip a switch and fix tomorrow. These are things that have had a long history of infrastructure difficulties and issues. And so as we're going forward, we're seeing that there's a lot of work yet to be done, but you have a huge foundation of work that you've worked on already. Will you meet them all? I feel like it would be nearly impossible to meet everything, but I have to say that the efforts that you've made for each one of these has been overwhelming, with the infrastructure changes in the software, with the practices that you've changed in business processes, with the hiring and the staffing and the realignment that you've done. You've done some amazing work on each one of these areas. And I don't know, Stephanie, if you want to talk about them each individually or.
I think everyone's had a chance to review them as a reminder, but I want to make one point that I think is important to this discussion. When the Accrediting Commission looks at what we've done, they're not just looking at, do we have a process? They're looking at, do we have a process and are we following it? Because the fact is, we know that we're in a fluid environment. And as we continue to grow and change, our outcomes continue to grow and change too. So it's not just a checkbox. It's not just, oh, we've done that. It's about that, developing that process and making sure we are adhering to it. And when the process doesn't work anymore, we evaluate it and we change it. That's what continuous improvement's about. So we'll go to the next slide.
And on those district requirements, 3 are really areas in that the audit has continuously alerted us there are issues there, and 3 are about the board. And as I've watched you in your YouTube videos and read all of the decisions that the board has been making over the last year, I'm just amazed at how well you've worked together, the way that you treat each other with respect, and the real deep interest that you have in making this district work properly.
So going back to the fiscal monitor, these are the 3 points that were left. Making sure we have guidelines to reduce operational overspending and eliminate the structural deficit. Your 5-year plan of our fiscal has really demonstrated that. We have make sure we adopt a restructuring plan to improve the efficiencies and accountability of the district. The chancellor has been working very hard on that with her staff, and of course addressing the audit findings. So you'll see these 3 areas of fiscal monitoring really are integrated and braided into the district requirements that we need to address. Next slide. So I'm going to hand this over to Janet, because as I've been putting things into folders and writing drafts, Janet's been the one that's been digging into the evidence that I've collected working with the ALOs. And her assessment is, and her understanding of how we're putting our narrative together is really helping us. She's asking us really tough questions on how the commission might see it. So Jenny, you want to talk about our strategies? And I want to note, that we're not here just to meet the standards, we're here to exceed them.
Yes, I love that title. So I know that you've seen the reports, the updates about PeopleSoft roll across each one of your meetings almost at board meetings. And I'm not sure how in tune you are with the extensive training that's going on, but I would just say, if you have not had a chance to look at the Canvas training workshops, those are so amazing. The work that you've done to make a very difficult infrastructure implementation roll out and accessible to everyone in the district is amazing. And I also know from conversations with people in the district that some of the first rollout was a little bit tough, but in the Peralta way, you looked at it, assessed it, changed the next phase of the rollout, made it better, and have plans to even make the third phase of the rollout even more excellent. So I'm just so impressed by the way that you do continuously look at how you can improve things. And it's not that it's without difficulty, it's just that you've become great problem solvers. You hired the internal auditor, and she's been reviewing documents and manuals and looking at some of the processes that were on paper that needed to be implemented into a system in PeopleSoft. And that's going to embed and integrate controls that are automated and make life easier for everyone. The data integration project, I know you've had several reports from Cambridge West, and you're working on a resource allocation model that is really positive. I went to the chancellor's office, and they now provide a 5-year summary of financial trends. And Peralta looks amazing. I was so excited to download that with your reserves and just see how well you created your allocation, you've improved it, and you're following it. And you've got board policy that keeps you in line with those plans that you've made. So that is really excellent. I also know that you've had Huron and EdgeRock helping you out with those technical things when there just aren't enough people on the planet that have expertise that could be hired at all of the colleges that need to understand and verify these internal control systems. And I think the work that Huron and EdgeRock has been doing is going to benefit you into the future. And I'm so glad that I'm able to add into the evidence that you don't just create a contract and then drop them when it's done, but you look at all of the things that you've accomplished and you extend or complete until all of the work is done. You've hired financial aid directors, and financial aid is an area that is so difficult statewide. And you've got a district director for financial aid now. These have to help us as you go forward with those financial aid audits, and the training that you've got available and the kind of communication that you're embedding in your work week is really going to benefit there. And then finally, this last phase of PeopleSoft is going to begin to expand the benefits beyond just the financial area. And people are going to be able to begin feeling how those internal control systems really help them with their jobs and make things better for Peralta. Next slide.
Yeah. And then we have 3 district requirements on the board. And boy, I think Jen and I both agree you've really developed a structure and cycle of review for yourselves as a board, as self-assessment, as well as the goal development, your trainings, your communication with your one employee, your chancellor, and the increased reporting regarding financial stability and student outcomes. I think it's important to note that when we're looking at these strategies that we're to meet and exceed the standards, that this report, this follow-up report, is a chance for us, an opportunity to complete our story with ACCJC. And I'm really excited with Janet being here. She brings that continuity of that story. Of course, the story is only as good as its evidence, because it's nonfiction, folks, not fiction. And we want to make sure that that story is clear. Next slide. So I just wanted to roll out, these are our next steps. It aligns to the timeline we brought to you in the beginning. In August, we have some activities. We're getting our draft to the expanded cabinet. They'll be looking at it, reviewing it with Janet and I, refreshing it. We'll be, the chancellor will be doing a flex day presentation to the college-wide and external communities. And then, of course, the drafts will go to the colleges for their shared governance as well as to you in September. And you can see that our peer-reviewed visit is the 13th and 14th. I imagine they will have questions for the board. The commission meeting is January 11th through 13th. And then we will be getting, the colleges will be getting letters regarding the decisions within 30 days. So before February. Chancellor, that concludes our report.
Thank both of you. Outstanding job. Board, do you have any questions regarding our timelines, where we are on issues? I want to thank, if there are any questions while I have the opportunity to do so, to thank our ALOs at the colleges. One of the things that you did not see on here was something that we had to do last year, which was a teach out plan. We were the first college district, the colleges, and we were the first district that had to do that. It was a new requirement that came from national, that if you are on probation, you must complete a teach out plan, because if you move to show cause, you have to show a pathway for those students to complete their education. We were the first ones to do that, and we received a commendation from the commission because we set the standard by having the first one, first of all, but also it was at such a high level of completion and thoroughness that they felt that they needed to let us know that. So I wanted to say that publicly to the ALOs. It wasn't just them, the vice presidents of student services, as well as the vice presidents of instruction. Some of them are ALOs, some of them aren't, depending on the college. Our presidents, our executive staff, our faculty, our classified professionals, it really did take a village for us to get to this place. And we're almost at the finish line. Doesn't mean that we aren't going to have to go through the continuous cycle again, but we need to end this sanction cloud that's over our head this year. That is our goal, is to become fully accredited. As my mom used to say, I am claiming our victory publicly. And that is our goal, is to become fully accredited. And if we do, we will have a celebration in the spring. Definitely. So board, if you have any questions, we're here to entertain those.
Trustees, any questions? Any thoughts? I'll just say thank you. Thank you, Dr. Fultz. Thank you, Dr. Droker. Thank you, all the ALOs. Thank you, the community. Sometimes, and I know that can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's actually difficult to sift through everything that comes through from ACCJC, but looking at these slides, it's gratifying to actually see met in red because that's fabulous. And then being able to see what we still need to do. But as you did in slide 8, just we're there, we're doing it. We're solving the issues. We're on our way there. And this was such a great presentation because it was nonfiction, but it was also, it showed us what we've done and where we are and what we are still doing to get us to that point where we can do, as the chancellor just said, the victory dance. So this is a collaborative, collective effort, and there's so much that's been done. And this is really setting us in the right direction for years to come. And this is a cycle that hasn't just been for a little while. It's been a cycle that's been here for quite a few decades. So I'm with you, Chancellor. I'm excited that we are heading in the right direction. And I don't see any comments from anyone. So I think with that, I'll say thank you to all.
Thank you, everyone.
Great. Okay, let's move on to the next item, which is our reports. I think we're done for the evening. So Board of Trustee reports. Let's go to Trustee Jenkins. I'm not sure who's still here. I don't know if Trustee Jenkins and Trustee Handy are no longer on the line. Sasha, am I inaccurate?
Trustee Jenkins is here. I do not see Handy.
Okay, Trustee Jenkins, do you have a report?
You're muted, Trustee Jenkins. I don't know if you were speaking or not.
Okay, let's go to Trustee Withrow.
I'll jump in, Cindy.
Go for it.
All right, I'm going to pass tonight. Thank you.
And of course, our student trustees, Student Trustee Hogan.
She left. She wasn't feeling well.
Okay, and Student Trustee Latino.
I'm here. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Nice to see you. Do you have a report, Hogan? Anything you'd like to share with us?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. And Student Trustee Latino.
Hi, yes, I have two things to report.
Great.
So I would first like to thank the newly elected associated students of Berkeley City College, ASBCC, for approving the funds for our Welcome Week event at Berkeley City College. We will have food and drinks for the first week of the fall semester, starting on Monday, August 22nd until August 25th. And the types of food that we will be providing include pastries, boba, and pizza, just to name a few. So I would like to thank ASBCC again for making this possible. Additionally, we will have our monthly food pantry at Berkeley City College this Thursday from 12 to 3 p.m. or until the food runs out. The pantry will be located on the first floor of the BCC campus, right in front of the welcome desk. And anyone who is a BCC student is welcome to come and grab some food. All you have to do is show your student ID or know your student ID number, and you should be good to go. We will have student ambassadors, including myself, who will be helping out with the food pantry. So I hope to see many of you there. And that's the end of my report.
Great, thank you. And then Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen, you had something to say?
Yeah, I wanted to circle back around to the announcement the Chancellor made about our colleague, Trustee Bonilla. I know, Cindy, you were going to say something, but I think it's just, I'm really saddened that Julina resigned. And she's a friend, a colleague. She was a wise and really courageous trustee. She didn't always line up with any particular group of trustees. She really was an independent thinker and guided the board through some really, really challenging times. And I don't know if people understand, maybe you do, just how brutal it can be sitting in this seat sometimes. In the current period, it's pretty calm, which is a blessing. Thank you, Trustee Napoli-Bellarice, for your leadership here. But Julina took us through some really, really hard periods. And I look forward to having an opportunity to celebrate her tenure on the board when we get around to that. But I want to publicly thank her for her service and real sacrifice to our community and to this district. She did things that were tremendous and really courageous. So I miss her. I have missed her, and I really wish her well. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gonzalez-Yuan. Yes, agreed. Vice President Delphine Polk.
Yes, I'll keep it really brief. So this week I was able to join in on a meeting with Chancellor Jackson, Dr. Garcia, and other staff from Peralta with the mayor's office in Berkeley, my boss, to talk about the new project at 2118 Milvia. And so we were able to go through the renderings and have the mayor and the vice mayor Harrison ask questions. It was really great to be a part of that because having Peralta be more part of the downtown Berkeley and Berkeley community is really important. And so I was grateful for the opportunity to be able to have dialogue about our wonderful new building that we're very much looking forward to in downtown Berkeley. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Delphine Polk. And I'll just say a couple of things. The first being that I attended the Women in Higher Ed Happy Hour where they were celebrating Dr. Garcia. And it was wonderful to hear her talk about her philosophy, about her life, about her kind of ascent in higher education. And it was also wonderful to see a couple of students that were her proteges, which reminded me again of how critical our leaders are in becoming models and mentors of inspiration for our students. So that was great fun. And I'm glad that that I was invited and that I attended. And I'm looking to see many more of our leaders, faculty, classified administrators in such spaces. And I will join Trustee Gonzalez-Yuan in saying that I am saddened. I am saddened to hear that Trustee Bonilla will be resigning. And I'll just say that I remember watching and researching years of board meetings. I watched all of the board meetings for about 2.5 years or 3 years when I was thinking of making a decision to run for the board, and realizing fairly quickly that Jalena's presence and her integrity and her intelligence and her powerful strengths were things that spoke to me. And I think as Nikki had said, most remarkably, that she was an independent thinker. And the more I got to know her, the more I worked with her, the more I realized that her core was even much more impressive than what I gleaned from the dais, just as a spectator watching. She was absolutely critical to helping this district finally move forward. And many people do not realize that. And I will underscore that she is to be missed, and she played such an important part in where we are today and where we're going, which is forward, forward, forward. And I think, again, in terms of qualities, what I will say about Jalena is that there are few people that are as insightful, as intelligent, as articulate. And this was an individual who delved and immersed herself probably in board documents more than I did. And she was always insightful and relentless in her questions, and also in her ability to see things that I could not see, that most board members cannot see. So yes, I am saddened, but I am also glad that we have an ability to honor her at that point in time. And I'm also glad that this district had the wonderful 8 years that Trustee Jalena dedicated to the district in terms of time, effort, everything. Okay. Trustee Withrow, my goodness, I forgot. Trustee Withrow, did you have a comment? Or did you have a board report?
I got my unmute fixed here, but no, I don't have a report. Good meeting, a lot of information.
Thank you. And then I believe then that we have board announcements. Vice President Delphine Polk, the floor is yours.
Madam President, I think I missed my board report. Is it okay?
Yes, you did. Go ahead, Trustee Jenkins.
Thank you so much. I missed it. Trustee Handy and I are here at the California Association of Black School Educators, which is a K through 14 organization, which is focused on outcomes for Black students. We are here taking implicit bias trainings and really learning about dual enrollment and how we can do better at Peralta. We are really committed to lifting up the Black students in this district so that they have better outcomes, right? When our Black students are doing well, Peralta is doing well. When our Latinx students are doing well, Peralta is doing well. And thank you, Chancellor Jackson, for making this happen, allowing us to go here and come back and share our learnings. I know it wasn't a popular thing for us to go here, but we are really committed to the upliftment of Black students in this district, and I'll be unapologetic about that. And thank you so much. Thank you, Madam President.
Of course, of course. And now I'm going to give it back to you, Vice President Delphine Polk.
No problem. So here are our announcements for tonight. Number one, enrollment is open for fall 2022 classes. There is something for everyone at Peralta Colleges. Visit the college websites to find classes and enroll. Number two, we're thrilled to announce that yesterday the Peralta Community College District was awarded the CABSE Black Excellence Award at the California Association of Black School Educators Conference in Napa. That's where Trustee Jenkins and Trustee Handy are. The award recognizes Peralta's groundbreaking leadership in advancing education equity for Black students. Congratulations, that's great. The Citizens Bond Measures Oversight Committee will meet on Wednesday, July 13th at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom. Visit the bond website at build.peralta.edu for details. Merritt College is hosting an urban agroecology job fair on July 19th from 1 to 3 p.m. in the Landscape Horticulture Garden. Enjoy free food while learning about careers in urban food business, sustainability, and more. The Laney College Carpentry Department and Laney Carpentry Women are hosting, quote, Let's Talk Tiny Homes and Alternative Housing, how women can make an impact in the construction trades and create affordable living spaces on July 21st from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The event includes a panel discussion and refreshments. Details are on the Laney College website events page. A special meeting of the Board of Trustees will be held tomorrow, Wednesday, July 13th at 3 p.m. via Zoom. We will be meeting with Dr. Helen Benjamin to confirm the 2022-2023 board goals. And last, the next regular meeting of the Board of Trustees will be held on Tuesday, July 26th. That is all the announcements I have.
Thank you, Vice President Delphine Polk. All right, with that, I will adjourn the meeting. Good night, everyone. Be well, be safe. Thank you all, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Good meeting. Thank you.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Good night. Good
Some
night.
board members I'll see tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.